It was a highly anticipated album, and it has dropped. It came out September 15th, Bayou St. John by Gregg Hill. And joining me now, singer, songwriter, guitarist, pianist, Gregg Hill. Gregg, so you're based in New Orleans, but you hail from many places. Where did you start your music career?
I guess Chicago, south side of Chicago. So when I first started playing, I grew up there till about the 8th grade, and then my father got a new job and we all moved to New Jersey. So I went to high school and college and started playing in New Jersey. Then from there, D.C., Dallas, back to Chicago, then New York, and been down here in New Orleans for about coming up on 6 years now.
Okay, and so this new album, Bayou St. John, it came together pretty quickly because your last album, Born Liar, was released in 2022. So this has been within the last year. These 8 songs all came together at this Bayou?
Oh, that's a great question. I really appreciate that. No, so here's what happened is that in the beginning of COVID, I had a bunch of songs and went in and just started recording them here just with Doug Belote, who's a really well-known drummer, Roland Guerin, and we were just making recordings. And so I had 20-something recordings that I took up to Nashville, and I made Born Liar with Neal Cappellino, and those were all demos that I had made down here, and he sort of found a record within those demos that I didn't see at all, which became a full band Nashville thing. And, Kenny Vaughan plays on it, Anders Osborne sings a song, Ron Block, Jeff Coffin. So it had all these mega stars from Nashville, and it was the full-on production. But then I came back, and I still had, with everything I had written, I probably had 25 more songs. And I thought, well, let me just go back and make the record that I really wanted to make, which was, at the time, which was more of a stripped down, just a trio. And so, Roland and I probably had like 15, 18 songs that we recorded and mixed and everything for Bayou St. John. But then we just put the 8 songs on it because we thought it told a tighter story and a little more digestible.
The first song on this album, when I was listening to it and I was looking at the cover, you're talking about a house that you live in with your girlfriend. Is that the house on the cover?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is the house.
Okay,
yeah.
that's what I pictured.
My wife, not my girlfriend.
I'm sorry.
Just kidding. Wait, I got to let Charlie out. Go on, okay. Charlie. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's me and my wife. So we've been living here a while. It's a house that looks right out over the bayou, which is kind of interesting because you don't think of the city of New Orleans as having bayous, but Bayou St. John runs right into the heart of New Orleans. And it's kind of the reason New Orleans is here because it connects Lake Pontchartrain, which goes out to the Gulf of Mexico. And that bayou gets to about a mile and a half of the Mississippi River, about 70 miles north of the mouth of the river. So way back in the late 1600s when Western Europeans started showing up here, that was a trade route that caught months off of the trip by being able to come and meet up with the river this far north.
Well, it sounds like you're really taken to New Orleans and really making it home. Was this album recorded there?
Yeah, all of it. Recorded right here at Rapidash Studios up on the North Shore. And then it was mixed and mastered at Roland Studio, which is right in Bayou St. John. He lives a couple blocks away from me. When we met on the bayou walking our dogs, my dog is Charlie Patton, the king of the Delta Blues, and his dog's Mingus.
And so you guys were walking your dogs, and then you just started talking about music and found out that you both...
Yeah, because it's New Orleans.
Oh, so everybody plays music there?
Roland Guerin. Well, a lot of people do, especially right around here. There's a lot of musicians right around here. John Rankin lives here. Johnny Sansone lives here. James Singleton. The list goes on of the musicians who live, within rock throwing distance of my house.
And dog walking distance.
And New Orleans is wonderful. Dog walking distance, yeah. So New Orleans is just wonderful for that. And, Roland Guerin, he was mentored by Alan Toussaint. He was Dr. John's musical director. So he has a pretty big career and a pretty prestigious resume. And he's not necessarily a folk guy, but he definitely was in tune with the writing part of it and the tone of the record. And then, his mixing it came up later because we had looked around and played with some mixes. And Roland said, I think I could just do it. And so he has some great Neve gear at his house. Well, not at his house, but at his studio. And so he really was able to get the exact mix that we really wanted, which, we've gotten a lot of praise on the mix because it's just so singer-songwriter forward without any real frills. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes you just need that when you want to wind down and just listen. It's like hearing it bare bones. And so are Roland and Doug, are they joining you for the live shows that you're starting tomorrow, right, in New Orleans?
Oh. Roland plays on some. Doug has played on one or two, but Doug's really into the studio. Actually, right now, he's taken his foot off the pedal a little bit and focusing more on his studio work and other things. So I can play with them, but they're just both incredibly busy. And, they're not really sidemen, for the most part. Roland has his own robust career, and he tours around the world playing. He plays with Brian Blade, and he was just doing he was playing with symphonies in about 3 or 4 different cities. It's hard to keep up,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So you're at Old Point Bar.
Yeah.
And so is it just you and an instrument there, or do you have people that are gonna?
Oh no,
back you up?
No. I'm playing that gig with a 4-piece band, and actually tomorrow's a little bit different thing than what I usually do. The Old Point Bar is awesome. It's right on the Mississippi River, right by the levee. I don't even know how old that building is, but it is the classic neighborhood dive in this old building with the awnings and the table outside and the music wafts down along the levee and over the river on the other side of New Orleans. So this little combo I got together for this gig tomorrow night is more of my jam band kind of leanings, which I don't get to do much. So I'll play most of this gig tomorrow with electric guitar. And yeah, that's kind of like a different, kind of local guys thing that I do. But the next 2 really big gigs I have, I'm doing a showcase at the Tigerman's Den in New Orleans on December 3rd, Sunday evening. And that's going to be with a trio, not sure who yet. And the Tigerman's Den is one of the oldest buildings in New Orleans, and it's just a little tiny listening room. So you go in there, the sun's going down through the windows, it's pin drop quiet. And that's the kind of venue that I really love, just for me, for my solo gigs and for my trio, where I can tell them stories and play the quieter songs. And then after that, on December 12th, I'm doing a big fundraiser at Chicky-Wawa, which is one of the bigger clubs in town, and that's a fundraiser for the New Orleans Musicians Clinic. And I'm playing in that with, I don't even know, Lily Lewis, Joy Clark, John Rankin, Papa Molly. So some of the biggest names.
Oh, nice.
Some of the biggest names in New Orleans are all playing at this fundraiser to come together and raise money. The New Orleans Musicians Clinic is just what it sounds like. It's a clinic for New Orleans musicians where they can get all their healthcare needs met there.
And then, so in the new year, I see that you're heading to Florida, and then you've got a date in Georgia as well, in Atlanta.
Yeah, the Florida tour, this will be the second one. I love a lot of the venues I get to play at. My music skews a little bit for the older folks, so there's a lot of folks who really like my music in Florida, so I'm happy to go again. And then Atlanta is a big town for me. I have a lot of friends and fans there, and the Red Light Cafe is just an awesome venue. Again, super quiet, great sound system, really good stage. So we'll have a really good crowd for that on January 28th. At the Red Light Cafe in Atlanta. And then from there, really focused on Folk Alliance coming up in February after that.
Well, it sounds like you are going to be busy, and you've been busy with getting all these songs together, getting another album for us with Bayou St. John. And check out the earlier one too, Born Liar, because Neal, he's won a Grammy, right, for being a producer engineer.
Neal's a total badass. He's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and the people he knows that he's friends with, you would never know it from afar until you're in his circle and you see all of the huge names that trust him and are in his world, which is why we were able to get all those huge names on the record. And COVID helped too. Everyone was kind of kicking around town, looking for something to do. But yeah, Neal is a true master. But on my first 2 of my other records, Hoof and The Sparrows, Peter Denenberg produced those records. He also had a Grammy.
Oh, cool.
He did all of the Spin Doctors records in the 90s. So he made a lot of dough and had a lot of success with his Spin Doctors run. And now he's doing really great because his son is an artist named Elliot Moss. And Elliot Moss totally blew up, and Peter and his son Elliot kind of do that together. We've all been friends for 25 years now. So yeah, a lot of people that have done a lot of things in the music industry. There's so many names and so many people who have great accomplishments that you don't necessarily know them. You don't know who they are, but there they are.
Yeah.
Making great art.
And so are you, and thank you for putting it out for us to listen to, and best of luck with your live shows coming up. We know you'll do great.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Thank you.